Welcome to this part of the program called Find Your Sweet Spot. This is probably the most important part of this program because if you get this right, everything else becomes so much easier. You will land interviews faster. You will get job offers sooner. And when you get the job, you will love it more and you're probably going to progress much more quickly in your career because you're actually good at the job. On the other hand, if you get this wrong, you'll face constant rejection. You'll probably waste months or even years applying for jobs that just don't fit, and you're gonna feel stuck and frustrated, wondering what is going wrong. Before we dive into how to find your sweet spot, let's talk about why it actually matters. Because I want to hammer this point home. I can't emphasize enough how important this part is. So basically, there are two things you need to figure out and get really clear on before you do anything else in your job search. The first thing is, what jobs can you actually get? These need to match ideally your skills, your strengths, and your level of experience. They should also be realistic and ideally in high demand by the market. Second is, what companies should you focus on? These are companies where you have the best chance possible of getting hired for those jobs that we talked about in question 1. Without knowing these two things, nothing else in your job search will work. You cannot apply for a job if you do not even know which job is the right fit for you. It just doesn't make sense, right? You need to have that knowledge before you can proceed to apply. Same with networking. If you don't know which companies you're targeting and which jobs you're targeting at those companies, how can you network? Because you don't know what to do. It's like flying a plane without a destination. You're just moving through the sky and you have no idea where you are going to land. Once you nail this step, if you can nail it, I promise everything else will fall into place. Now, most job seekers, they make some really big critical mistakes when they're picking which jobs to apply for and which companies to target. For example, they limit themselves to just 1 or 2 job titles based on their degree. They might target just the big name companies and ignore thousands of small, medium-sized and startup companies. They might apply to jobs that just are too senior for them. They require more experience than they have, and instead of getting a stepping stone role, they keep applying for these jobs they can't actually realistically get. And another mistake is they just don't research the market demand. So they waste time on jobs that have few openings or are shrinking in demand. And another big mistake they make is they put all their eggs in one basket, applying for the same roles as like thousands or tens of thousands of other candidates. So these are some really big mistakes we don't want to make. And this is why so many people struggle for months, maybe years, because they're simply aiming for the wrong jobs. And I don't want you to make these same mistakes. Now, some people, when they go through this part of the program, they're going to fix all this. And I hope that is you. If you can fix this, you're going to get things right and everything's going to be better. Those who take time to find their sweet spot, they're going to do things differently. They're going to do things like identify a range of job titles that they can realistically get instead of just limiting themselves to one. They might target a mix of companies, including large, mid-sized, small startups. They also think carefully about what are their real strengths and interests, and they target roles that align. They also look for jobs that are in high demand. And this makes it way more easy to get interviews because they're applying for jobs they're actually good for and the market actually is hiring for. So it's much easier. And because of that, they're going to get jobs much faster and with less stress and more naturally. It's going to feel better because they're competing and choosing to play the game where they have the highest chance of success. That's how people do it right. That's how smart job seekers avoid months of frustration. And that's how they get hired quickly. So that's kind of the intro to this part of the program. Now, by the end of this program, what we're going to do, or what we're going to have done, is we're going to have built a very clear list with you of job titles that actually fit your skills, strengths, and experience, and target companies where you have the best chance of getting those jobs. Once that is clear, you can move on to all the next steps in the program and everything will become much easier. So without further ado, let's get into it.